Hello everyone. I wanted to talk today about making a bicycle using engineered wood. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what that means. So basically the way most people are making wooden bikes these days is they basically take a solid piece of wood, hollow it out, make two halves and then glue it together. So I'm going to take a piece of wood like this. What I've got here is a piece of spalted maple. It's about 2.5 by 2.5 inches, or 2 feet long. So a piece like this would cost you about 20 bucks or so. And then what you could do with this is you could turn it into something like that. Okay. Now the problem is, of course, if you're taking this and turning it into this, you're also generating a lot of sawdust. You can see the thickness of this piece. It's still very, very thick. So I'd say a little bit too thick for a bicycle. But I guess my point is, you're taking very expensive wood and turning about 80 or 90% of it into sawdust. Me being a little cheap, I have a little bit of a problem with that. So I started looking at it and I thought, I wonder if there's a different way we can make wooden bikes. So what I discovered is that you can buy very, very thin, see this, thin sheets of plywood. This stuff is called aircraft birch. It's actually made, it's made under a certification process, but as I understand it, it's a certification that's been around for 60 or 70 years. Essentially what it is, believe it or not, this is only a 32nd of an inch thick, and it's actually got 3 plies of birch in there. And so they make it to this specification. And the nice things about having a specification is that they have a certain requirement for the quality of the wood that's being used. So you get a very high grade birch, very few defects in it. Birch happens to be a very, very strong wood. And then the plies are actually glued together so that it's totally waterproof. So one of the tests that they do is they see if it can survive being in boiling water and not come apart. So they actually put it in boiling water for a week, believe it or not. And if it stays together, then it's meeting one part of that qualification. So because it's so thin, what you can do is you can essentially take some birch like this, roll it into a tube, and glue it together, and you end up with something like that. So this is a tube that's made out of aircraft birch, and you can see the thickness there. It's very, very thin walls. And even with this tube, basically the thickness on this is about, varying between 2.5 millimeters. So very thin, very, very light. I mean, honestly, this feels like a cardboard tube that you'd use for a roll of paper towel or something. But you can take that and make a bike like I've got in the background there. So obviously one of the things I wanted to do is make sure that this stuff is obviously strong enough for a bike. And a lot of different ways you could do that, but me being kind of a practical person, I guess, and a person that also likes to wreck things, what I did is made a test specimen, and I got a buddy of mine to help me test this. So here's one of my test specimens, okay? And it used to look like this. I made here on the joints, I made basically fillets of epoxy. You can see how thick that is. Not a lot of carbon fiber really. Joined them together and then we broke it. And what I wanted to know first of all is how strong can this joint be with a minimal amount of carbon fiber? And how much force can this take? So I'll show you the video. Ready?
Yep.
Oh. You can hear it cracking?
Yeah.
There you go.
There she goes. Okay.
So the carbon fiber didn't break, the tube broke. Okay, so that was an interesting experiment, kind of fun. Break stuff like that. And then put a lot of effort into making the stupid test specimen and you just break it. But we were very surprised to find out how much torque this thing would actually take. I mean, 500 foot-pounds of torque. That's more torque than my Jeep puts out my Jeep diesel. So that's a lot of force. That gave me a lot of confidence to, say that this frame's going to hold up. The forces are one thing in a bike, and And in fact, that's not really what you need to worry about when you're making a bike frame. You want to make sure they can actually withstand the torques or the stresses that you get inside the frame, say when you're climbing a hill or when you're accelerating. That's where you get the really big stresses in the frame. So I wanted to make sure that I could make a frame that would be strong enough to withstand those forces. And based on this little simple experiment that I did, I found out that indeed it is incredibly strong. And I can get away with very, very minimal thickness of wood, hardly any carbon fiber, and it actually makes for a very strong frame. Now, the other benefit, though, of making bikes this way is that you can take the tubes and you can put veneers on them so that you can get a very, very high-end wood around the plywood and make a frame that essentially looks like it's made out of a very, very expensive wood, which, in all intent and purposes, to get high-quality woods like that, it's very unlikely that you'd actually buy them as a solid piece of lumber and then hollow them out. Because here, this is ebony. It's only a 1/40 of an inch thick. But if I was to make a bike out of ebony, that'd probably be, oh, I don't even want to venture a guess, at least $10,000 of wood. Okay, whereas this little sheet of ebony, it costs $10. It's not bad at all. So what you can do then, you can take the veneer, you can bend it around the tubes, you can basically bond it together, and then you end up with like this, which is a walnut, essentially a walnut tube, but as you can see, it's still basically birch plywood. So what that means then is I can essentially make, if you want to call it, a very environmentally friendly frame. What I mean by environmentally friendly is you're not wasting a whole bunch of wood to make it. And you can also then go ahead and make a frame like this, where this is my second bike that I made. So the back end is ebony veneer for the chainstay and the seat stays and the head tube. And then the main tubes are actually what they call curly English sycamore. So what this allows me to do, and this is very similar to how guitars are made, for example, electric guitars, for those of you that know that kind of thing. So what I can do then is put that very, very high-end veneer on it. I can do, in this case, I did what they call flame finish on it. And again, if you were to make make this out of solid wood, you could do it. But again, sycamore like this isn't particularly strong, but because it's got the birch tubes under it, it's still a very, very strong frame. But you end up with this incredibly beautiful finish. Okay, everyone. So thanks for watching the video. And in future videos, I'm going to talk about how you actually build bikes. And so stay tuned and like my video. Okay, bye, everyone.